host call on La Alahaina with Yahweh by Shem Yahshua by Shem Hawakakodash. I want to give double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone who will teach well, and heart shalom to the elect. Righteous brother, Prophet Isaac, camp day, Holy Spirit, Father, Yahweh, Shem Yahshua. Salakia for not being out here yesterday. I was in the middle of moving. Somebody Yahweh, Shem Yahshua for allowing that to go smoothly with no issues, okay? But back to the work, right? But the thing I was going to speak on is that the world that they're currently living in is coming to an end, okay? All right? It's coming to an end, all right? And this is Second Esdras. Chapter 6 and verse 1. It says here, and he said unto me in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the wind blew, before it thundered and lightened, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or ever the chimneys high in Zion were hot, and ere the present years were sought out, or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before there were sealed that have gathered the faith for a treasure, all right, and learning this truth, especially having the names of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, that's part of having this faith for a treasure, man. All right, let me look up the word treasure and see what that means. Treasure is something that, near and dear to somebody. Just, looking it up, just thinking of it, just off the top of my head. All right, so treasure is money or jewels in store, wealth accumulated, spoils harbored. All right, so something that's worth wealth. Okay, all right. This is what the etymology online is saying. It says right here, the figurative sense of anything valuable, okay? So the names of Yahweh Shem Yahshua is something that you can value, right? And we have faith in those names, okay? All right, because calling upon the name of the Lord, first directly Yahweh Shai, because he's our mediator, right? And he's going to come save us, just as Moses was the mediator for the Israelites in the time of ancient Egypt, all right? And he delivered them out of there, all right? I'm not saying that the Israelites called on Moses for deliverance, all right? He's going to call on Yahweh Shai for deliverance, okay? Having the names of the Lord, all right, as part of this faith, all right? Because we have to call on those names. We will call on those names, all right? Especially in our times of trouble, all right? But verse 5, it says, read 5 again. And ere the present years were sought out, ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed that hath gathered faith for a treasure, then did I consider these things, and all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall end, and by none other. All right, and this is my point of reading this, is for our people to know that we are close and closer every day to the end of this society that we live in. All right. I've seen on social media stuff of that nature where it's like within 250 years of the society or kingdom being set up, it's brought down within that 250-year mark, right? I'm not sure how true that is, but if that's the case, America's 250-year mark is next year, okay? And Lord will, that be the year we get out of here. The apostles are going to term it or coin it, whatever the Spirit allows them to coin it or term it, okay, for the year coming up, all right? But hopefully it's the year we get delivered up out of here, man. okay, all right, or the year after that, because there's still a lot that has to go on in the sense of the dollar having to fully collapse, the MOTB being in place, okay. You got the World War III has to happen. You got Jacob's Trouble that has to happen. You got a lot of things that has to happen, and there's things that's going to lead up to those events that's going to happen, but it takes time, right? But all those things should be telltale signs, all right, when they come about, that you are closer and closer to the end of this place, man, all right? And as you get closer and closer to the end of this place, all right, you need to know and understand that your time is short as far as the grace period that the Lord has allowed our individual brothers and sisters, okay, to receive the knowledge and understanding of His truth, all right? And more importantly, like you said in verse 5, or to word it better, like you said in verse 5, before they were sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure, right? So that's what this opportunity is for, right? For the elect of the Lord, Yahweh Shina outside, to go out there and gather, like faith, like it says, gather faith for a treasure, right? Like if you see TV shows or, cartoons growing up, you have pirates out there following X marks the spot to see where their treasure is, all right? And they believe that they will find it because that's what that map led them to, all right? Where the Lord has led us to Him, all right, through our elders and apostles, all right, through the apostles and elders, okay, of Great Millstone, and upon finding those individuals, we learn the name of the Yahweh Shemel, right, the name of our true power and His Son, okay? All right, because calling on God and Jesus ain't gonna get you nowhere. It hasn't gotten you nowhere. Thus far in today's time, okay? All right. But continuing on, verse 7, it says, Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And I just, mentioned some of them. The MOTB, all right? You got that. You got World War III. You got Jacob's Trouble that's coming, okay? You got all the pestilences and famines and, the most important famine, all right, where you're not going to see the men of the Lord on the highways and byways teaching anymore, all right, where the famine of the word is going to come, all right? That's going to be another telltale sign of you noticing that that the end of the world is near, or even more near, okay? All right? Speaking of that, I was watching a clip of, I seen it on Instagram first, but then I was looking at the video, not the sidewalk yet, I watched a glimpse of it on the way when I was sitting in the parking lot, and it stated that somebody was looking for the apostles on 34th Street and they're not there anymore. Guess what? They of course they moved and went wherever they went. But that's how it's going to be in the times of trouble. All right, people are going to be looking for the men that stood on the highways and byways and taught 100% truth. Okay, but they're not going to find them. All right, because the Lord's going to bring that famine of the word out. Okay, all right. This is Amos chapter 5 and verse 10. It says, They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. All right, that's what our people are out here doing now. It's time for them to, only the elect is going to receive this gospel, but it's time for our people to receive and get this faith for a treasure, okay? But then you got our own people that scoff them up, okay? All right? Our own people do that shit, all right? It says here, For as much therefore as your treading is upon the poor, and ye take from him burdens of wheat, ye have built houses of hewn stone, but ye shall not dwell in them. Ye have planted pleasant vineyards, but ye shall not drink the wine of them, but ye shall not drink wine of them. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins, They afflict the just, they take a bribe and turn aside the poor and negate from their right. Verse 13 is the point. It says, therefore the prudent shall keep silence in that time, for it is an evil time. All right, and then when that famine of the word comes, okay, it's going to be an evil time. Okay, all right. Let me see if I thought I was trying to find it, but I couldn't. But when that famine of the word comes, it's going to be an evil time. All right. But like I was reading in verse 13, Amos 5, verse 13, therefore the prudent shall keep silence in that time, for it is a time of evil. Right? And the Lord's gonna not have us out on the highways and byways when the evils become so great that we're being persecuted, okay? For teaching his word. All right, the Lord's not gonna have us out there teaching and preaching, okay? All right, there's gonna be a lot of chaos going on in the world, okay? And if we follow what the apostles and elders tell us and teach us to do, then we won't be out here on the highways and byways in that time. That's how we're going to know. All right, there's going to be a message that goes out, and Lord will I receive it, okay? But nonetheless, it says here, verse 14, then I'll get Amos 5 and 8, I mean 8 and 11. It says, seek good and not evil, that ye may live, and so the power of hosts shall be with you as ye have spoken. Hate the evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that Yahweh power of hosts will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph. All right, and that goes into the northern kingdom. Okay, all right. I believe Amos is talking to the yeah, he was the northern kingdom prophesied for 10 years, from 760 BC to 750 BC. Okay, and he prophesied during the I got here Jeroboam. He prophesied within this time frame of Jeroboam, the second kingdom, his kingdom. All right, which Jeroboam's kingdom reign was from 793 to 753. Nonetheless, this is Amos 8 and 11. It says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh Shem Shah. All right, and that day is coming, man. That day is coming. It's coming quickly, more and more quickly than we could imagine. We already at the end of 2026, man. We got like 3 or 4 months before the end of 2026, okay? All right? We got 3 or 4 months before the end of 2026. And with the end of 2026 coming out the way, all right? I mean the end of 2025, I'm sorry, I said 2026. With the end of 2025 coming up, okay? We are 1 year closer to the Lord's kingdom being established, man, okay? All right? But you're going to hear about, you're not going to see the men of the Lord on the highways and hedges, man, preaching and teaching, okay? Verse 12, it says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh and shall not find it. Okay, and that's what's going to happen. Like that man that I was watching the beginning of the Manat Zakbar's video, he was like, he couldn't find the apostles anymore on that 34th Street where they was at. Wherever they are now, that's where the Lord got them. I don't know, and that's not important for me to know. But he couldn't find them anywhere. And that's how it's going to be, right? People, you know, they had the opportunity to receive this grace and they didn't want to receive it, you know, right? They didn't want to take it, okay? So, but what they did in a sense is abuse it, man. Okay, and I was thinking of a scripture. I was trying to think of a scripture where where that was. I can't find it. I'm not gonna waste time trying to find it. But nonetheless, all right, the Lord has had his men out here since the 60s, 70s, preaching and teaching, okay? Starting off with I believe it was High Priest Harliot, all right? Forgive me if I'm messing it up, but I learned from the formation of many great Muslims, okay? But those men, they learned from those high priests, right? But nonetheless, all right, it's still going up 30, 40, 50 plus years later, man. All right, and the Lord's time for mercy is slowly closing, slowly but surely, man, okay? And it's time for our people to get right, because once that famine of the word hits, who knows what the Lord's going to have happen after that, man, okay? Or what the Lord's going to have happen before that to cause the Lord's men to not be out there preaching and teaching, okay? All right? Because we know persecution is going to come, all right? And with persecution coming, we have no reason to be afraid, all right? This is, let me get Matthew first. This is Matthew chapter, Matthew chapter 5, and then I'm going to start at verse 10. It says here, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. All right, and to be persecuted means to suffer, man. All right, the Lord Yahushua had to suffer, so we're going to suffer, man. Okay, all right, but what we're suffering for is greater than anything that we could experience and what we're going to get, man, okay? We're going to be ruling with the Lord, Yahweh outside, man, in the Lord's kingdom, all right? We're going to be ruling with the Lord. That's what we're suffering for, you know? The scriptures say, count the cost, man, all right? Count the cost of Lord will, I could get that. But it says here, I'm going to read it again. It says here, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And within that kingdom of heaven being ours, we're going to be ruling with the Lord, man. I'm going to say it again. We're going to be ruling with the Lord, okay? All right? It says here, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. And that's what they're going to do, all right? Our people do it now to a certain extent, okay? All right? You got people on TikTok. You know, you got Vocab Malone, you got all types of people coming against the truth, coming against the names of Yahweh Shem outside, and smearing men of the Lord, all right, for teaching the truth, for calling upon the true names of the Lord, and the Lord, his son, and him, all right, calling upon those names. You got people doing all kind of manners of evil, having evil intent against you for that, man, okay? But that's not going to compare to what the Lord's going to give you, man, okay? In 2nd Ezra, let me go back there. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, and when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel which had been sent unto me the night before. And he said unto me, up Ezra, and hear the words that I come to tell thee. And I spake, saying, and I said, speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, there the city is set in a wide place, that it may be deep and great. The sea is set in a wide place, that it may be deep and great. But put to the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he were not through the narrow, how could he enter into the broad? All right. And that sea is comparable to the kingdom of heaven. And to enter into that, you may have to go through persecution. You may have to go through hard times. You may have to lose things, okay? Or you may have to go through a lot where you end up with nothing but the faith that the Lord has given you, all right? And we're going to be tried and tested, but that's part of persecution, to suffer, all right? For this truth's sake, okay? And, you know, everything that we do is brought upon us because everything is predestined. And most importantly, you have to understand that once we come here to live again, right, we are living out our judgment that the Lord has set forth for us, man. All right, and some people go through very hard times. Some people, as far as their judgment from the Lord, they don't go through no bad times at all. It just depends, you know, what that person depends, or what that person sees as a bad time, okay? But some people go through, everybody goes through things. My point is saying that some people have an easy life, you know, and some people have a hard life. But the whole point of me saying that is that's what the Lord has predestined for people, is that person's judgment. Most importantly, another form of judgment is how that individual dies, okay? All right? That's also predestined from the Lord, okay? All right, you have to understand that, all right? And there's going to be some people, as I'm reading here, that's going to go through the narrow, okay, and enter into that sea to see how broad and how deep it is. And that's comparable to the kingdom of the Lord, man, okay? Because that's what we ultimately struggling and fighting and going to suffer to enter into, man, okay? To enter into the Lord's kingdom, all right? And with entering into the Lord's kingdom, all right, we're going to lose things, all right? And those things may be near and dear to your heart, all right? And if they are, guess what? You'll get them back in the kingdom, okay? And if they won't, if they're not meant for you here, you're going to get what it is meant for you in the Lord's kingdom, okay? But that entering into that narrow space is significant of, and you can correlate that to, all right, struggling, suffering for the truth's sake, okay? All right? Going through life's ups and downs, all right? For the sake of the glorification of the Lord, man, okay? And it's only going to get harder, all right? Verse 6, it says, there is also another thing, a city is builded and set upon a broad field and full of good things, of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, as if there were fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water. Right, and the water and that fire, right, are representations of suffering and struggle, man. Okay, it says here, and one only path between the boat and between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. If this city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, if he shall never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive an inheritance? Okay, so we're going to have to go through suffering, man, to receive the Lord's kingdom, man. We're going to have to go through trials and tribulations to receive the Lord's kingdom. All right, we're going to have to go through things. All right, even though it may be uncomfortable, you know, for the flesh. I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. Okay, but it's going to be beneficial to our spirit, man, especially in the long run, okay? And I'm going to say it again, if something is supposed to be for you, then it's going to be for you, whether it be for a long time or for a short time. But this faith that the elect has gathered for a treasure is going to be with them, for them, till the Lord comes back, all right, and gives them what they have earned, okay? All right? It says here, and verse 10, it says, and I said, is it so, Lord? Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. So Israel's portion, they're going to have to go through that straight gate, right, which I'm going to get in Matthew 17, Matthew the 7th chapter, the 12th verse, all right, to go through that narrow path where it's very difficult, okay, and it's hard, all right, and because we don't like being discomforted, or living in discomfort, some people are going to sway away from it, man, okay? Lord will, you know, brothers and their families and their sisters, they endure whatever the Lord has put forth for them, man, okay? All right? But nonetheless, okay, everything will be what the Lord needs it to be. Everything will be what the Lord wants it to be, all right? And sometimes we got to go through that straight gate to get us to be better. Verse 11, it says, because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail, but there are few and evil, full of perils and very painful. All right, that's what we're going to have to go through. All right, few and evil, full of perils and very painful. We're going to have to go through some things, man. Okay? But with that being said, the Lord is preparing us for those things, man. You have to have faith in it. Verse 13, it says, for the entrance of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straits and vain things, they can never receive those things, those that are laid up for them. So we got to work. Labor means to work. And working for the Lord means to have that faith first and foremost, and then on top of that, doing what the apostles had did and set forth, doing what Yahushua had did and set forth, okay? All right? Teaching the people. When I say the people, I mean the Israelites. But you also have to understand that the Lord's people are scattered with amongst these other nations, all right? All right, that was it on that, okay? Let me go back to Matthew, because going through the straight gate is part of the persecution, okay? Because we may get thrown in the concentration camp, we may get thrown, you know, hung, tortured, whatever the case may be, you know, for the glorification of the Lord. Look what the Lord went through for us, you know? This is Matthew 5 and 11. It says, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. All right, so that's what we're gonna have to go through, some form of persecution, man. All right, and let me look at that word persecution. All right, it says oppression for the holding of a belief or opinion. All right, and our belief and opinion is in Yahweh Shem Shai. Our opinions are and our belief is in that the Lord is coming to deliver those that He has set forth from the foundations of the world, man. All right, which is His elect, which belong to the nation of Israel, and then ultimately the Lord is going to deliver and save Israel. That's my belief. That's what I've been taught based on what I've read in the Bible from my apostles and elders. Okay, all right. And people don't like that, okay, because it goes against what it is that they've been taught about the God of the Bible and about His Son. All right. Well, they've been taught lies just as I have been taught lies prior to the Lord leading me to this treasure via the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. All right. As me circumventing my life, going wherever the Lord has brought me forth to go, all right, leading me to the brothers over there in Virginia where I learned the truth from and had an opportunity to grow with those individuals, all right, and receive this truth and continue to be a minister of the Lord through those men, you know, because of this treasure that the Lord has given me, which is confidence in His names, all right, and the Lord's going to test your confidence in His names by putting you through things, and have confidence is to have faith, all right, to hope, all right, to expect something to happen for you, man. And that all correlates with the word faith, okay? But those things, because we have this faith, is gonna lead forth oppression. It's gonna lead forth persecution. Okay, I'm gonna read it again in the etymology. It says persecution, oppression for holding a belief or opinion. It says persecution, damage, affliction, suffering. And in order for us to go through that and enter into that city and enter into that sea that I was reading about in Second Esdras, you're going to have to go through sufferings. You're going to have to go through dangers. You're going to have to go through evils. You're going to have to go through perilous times. All right? You're going to have to go through those things, afflictions. All right? It says to follow, pursue, hunt down, proceed against. All right? Start a legal action. And that's all what these people are going to do, man. They're going to have that set forth in their mind to bring some form of persecution against you as a man of the Lord, as a man that's been speaking against the so-called white man in the ways of America. All right, talking about the destruction of America is going to come from a deity out of the sky that the people of the world really don't believe in, because what they've been taught about the deity in the sky, all right, does not correlate to what the Bible says. Okay, all right. But they're going to find out, and it's going to be too late. All right. So when the Lord has that spirit of persecution on the Lord's people from the other people that don't believe, especially within our people, all right, it's going to be too late for them to stop what the Lord's going to have us doing to those individuals, man. Okay. All right. Because it just reminded me of some precepts. Let me go to Jeremiah 16. This is Jeremiah 16, I'm going to start at 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, Yahweh liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whether he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. In order for that to happen, we're going to have to go through persecution, all right? Because when the ancient Israelites went through getting up out of ancient Egypt, all right, they was back and forth going with letting the people go and not letting the people go. All right, then you had just trying to remember it off the top of my head. You had forms of persecution going on. Okay, all right. I'm not gonna sit here and speak to say this and that, but there was forms of persecution going on. I guarantee you. Okay, but nonetheless, verse 16 it says, "But I will send for many fishers, saith Yahweh, and they shall fish them." Who are we fishing for? We fishing for the elect, man. The word is bait, okay? And that bait is going to wrap around your mind, which is the word is going to draw you into the Lord, okay? Whether it sits with you or whether it doesn't, that's up to Yahweh Shem Al Shai. Whether you have faith in it or you don't, that's not up to you. It's up to the Lord Yahweh Shem Al Shai. And if it does sit with you, Lord will you endure all the trials and tribulations that you have to go through until the very end, and you get delivered, man. Okay, if that's the Lord's will for you, all right. It says here, "And after I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rock." All right, the Lord's going to turn on men that have submerged themselves into the word of Yahweh Shem Al Shai as true believers. Okay, all right. He's going to turn them into hunters. All right, he's going to turn them into hunters to hunt down those that did wrong against the Lord's people. Okay, whomever they may be, wherever they're going to be at, the Lord's going to set up a standard and give us spiritual powers, man. Okay, all right. This is I gotta find that. Excuse me. Isaiah 59. Jeremiah. All right, this is Jeremiah. This is Isaiah 59, and I'm gonna start at 15. It says, "Yea, truth faileth, and he that departed from evil makes himself a prey. And Yahweh saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment." All right, so when you depart yourself from the wicked ways of the world, you make yourself a prey from those individuals that are consumed in the wickedness of the world. That's gonna partake, because the men of the Lord, they're turning their ways away from wickedness to righteousness. Okay, and it's a work in progress. Okay, you're going to be put through things that's going to put you in that work in progress. Okay, all right. Nonetheless, it says here, "And it displeased him that there was no judgment, and he saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no intercessor. Therefore his arm brought salvation unto him, and his righteousness it sustained him. And the arm of the Lord is Yahweh Shai. Okay? All right? It says here, for he put righteousness on as a breastplate and a helmet of salvation upon his head. And he put on the garments of vengeance for clothing, and he was clad with a zeal as a cloak. And according to their deeds, accordingly he will repay fury to his adversaries, recompense to his enemies. To the islands he will repay recompense. Okay, to the people that's in the land that walk contrary to the Lord. All right, the Lord has a payback for you, man. Okay, the Lord has a payback for you. Okay. Verse 19 it says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and the glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. All right. And the Lord, what I'm saying is that the Lord's going to protect you in that time. Okay. Whether that protection comes from something like such as an angel or from a brother that receives spiritual powers. Okay. Those are some examples that could potentially happen for you. Okay. Regarding the Lord setting up a standard, or you could be the one to receive spiritual powers, okay? All right, there's going to be great miracles that's going to happen in a time of trouble, all right? That's why it's imperative for us to have faith and confidence in the names of Yahweh Shema Shai. It's very important, man, okay? Because this is one of my favorite precepts. This is Psalms 50 and 15. And call upon me in the day of trouble, and let's say in Salaki. Let me read it over. And call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. All right, and that's what we want to do. We want, in that time of trouble, our shield, okay, is going to be calling upon the names of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, not calling upon any other God, okay? Because the gods of this world have failed you, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, drastically, to the point where the Lord had to stick his foot up our asses, man, and put us into captivity under these other nations. And as you go through things, as you get your ass whooped, you learn, right? You should be learning. I should be learning. We all should be learning, okay? But if and when we don't learn, okay, all right, that's where we repeat the same things over and over again, okay? All right? Let me get this in Isaiah. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 8. It says, but thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. Thou, whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, thou art my servant, I have chosen thee, and cast thee not away. The Lord has not cast away his people, okay? All right, it says, fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power, I will strengthen thee. How's the Lord going to strengthen us, man? One aspect, you're going to get spiritual powers, man. All right? So in a time of trouble, be not dismayed. Don't be afraid. Don't be frightened. Call upon the name of the Lord. In a time of persecution, the same thing, okay? You know, you got to think that the Lord's going to give you spiritual powers. And to think something means to believe it, okay? Because if you look up the word believe, it means to think to be true. All right? So you got to think this to be true. And to think something to be true is to believe it. All right? And to believe something in another sense is to have faith in it, man. So you got to think the Lord's going to give me spiritual powers, man. When shit hits the fan, the Lord's going to give me or another brother spiritual powers, man. All right? You got to think that way, man. And you got to have confidence in it, okay? Because the Lord said he's going to strengthen us, man. And we don't know how that strength is going to come. That strength may come through, you being able to fly. That the strength is going to come from the Lord, but that strength can be the ability to fly, to be super strong, to teleport, to become invisible, to do whatever your heart desire, you know? There's one instance where I was thinking about teleporting, the angel of the Lord teleported Habakkuk to feed Daniel. All right, it said he grabbed him by the hair of his crown, and through the vehemency of his spirit, he ended up in Babylon where Daniel was. All right, that's teleporting. And from what I understand, okay, you can shoot, lasers from your eyes. I'm just thinking about all the superpowers that superheroes get in these TV shows that we watch, such as like Dragon Ball Z, all these animes, like Superman, The Flash, shit like that, the Fantastic Four, things of that nature, But it says here, the Lord's going to strengthen us, man. It says here, verse continuing in verse 10, yea, I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. And like I said earlier, the right arm of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh Shai. Same thing with the hand, because the right hand is connected to the arm, all right? And that means strength and power, man, okay? All right? The Lord has us, man. The Lord got our backs. We got to believe that. You got to believe that. I believe it. And I show my belief in it by coming out to teach every time. The Lord allows me to come out here and teach, which is every Friday. Today just Saturday because I was moving yesterday. Okay? All right? Verse 11, it says, behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish. So those that, bring forth that persecution, whether it be, to hunt you down, throw you in prison, have some type of legal obligation over you and throw you in jail or, hang you, whatever the case may be, the Lord said that they're going to be as nothing, man. All right? They're going to be as nothing. I'm going to look up this word, incensed. All right, incensed, it says full of wrath, inflamed with anger. All right. And that's how people are because of this word, all right? This word does not correlate with their mindset and the way Babylon and the world has taught them to live. So there's going to be persecution. These people are going to be full of wrath and anger, especially when they can't feed their families, when they can't pay their bills, when they can't go out here and do all the things that they've been accustomed to because of the ways of America are changing. And the ways of America are changing because because America is going down, okay? All right, and they don't like to hear that. They don't want to hear that, okay? All right? But continuing on, it says here, verse 12, thou shalt seek them and shall not find them, even them that contend with thee. They shall war against thee. They that war against thee shall be as nothing and as a thing of naught. So when you're going through that persecution, remember this, that your enemies are going to be a thing of naught, man. Those that fought against you because you stood for the glorification of Yahweh Shem Shai, whether it be through, you're getting locked up, you're getting thrown in jail, you're getting persecuted, in whatever sick form or fashion persecution comes for you, that is destined to come for you for this truth's sake, okay? All right? Whatever that form is, be prepared and call upon the names of the Lord. That's one way, okay, that we can fight against it, okay? And another way that we can fight against it is to stand strong. All right, 1 Corinthians 16 and 13 tells us to be strong, put yourself like a man. All right, that means be strong. All right, we're gonna have to be strong. All right, because if we're not gonna be strong, then what? All right. Let me get that. This is 1 Corinthians 16 and 13. It's an exhortation because that's all what we doing. We out here preaching. We exhorting our people to be strong in the Lord, man. Okay. It says here, watch ye, stand fast in the faith. Quit you like men, be strong. All right, that's how we gotta be. Men are strong, all right? Especially the men of the Lord, like King David, Yahweh Shai most importantly. You got the 7 brothers and their mother. Okay, even the littlest one was strong. All right, but this is the spirit that the Lord put upon those men. All right, in the times of persecution, and they had full confidence and faith in the Lord. So now I'm thinking again in 2 Maccabees, they had the 7 brothers and their mother. Even the youngest brother stood up against the oppressor. And then you had before them Eleazar, a man of an old age. He thought about things that he would have to go through as far as suffering for the shame, for not standing for the Lord, or for dying and standing for the Lord. He said he'd rather basically stand for the Lord and die than suffer the shame for not standing for the Lord, because I'm gonna get it. Speaking about it, because these are examples that the Lord has left for us, because the scriptures tell you in Romans, the things that are written aforetime are written for our learning. Okay, this is 2 Maccabees chapter 6. Yeah, it's chapter 6. This is talking about Eleazar. I'm gonna start at verse 1, because it's good for us to know history, but it's kind of long. So, nonetheless, it says here, not long after this, the king set an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their power, of their fathers, and to not live after the laws of their power, and to pollute pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympus, and that in Garzum of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in that place. So to have them set up idols in the Lord's temple, man. Okay. The coming of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was filled with riot and revelings by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that brought in things that were not lawful. The altar was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. The law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days and ancient feasts, or to profess himself to be at all to be a Jew. And in the day of the king's birth every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus, carrying ivy. So some idol, man, right? Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighboring cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices, and whomso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. All right, and that's what's gonna happen, man, when you don't conform to the ways of Babylon. All right, when this chip comes out, because that's gonna be the new hip thing. All right, because people gonna be able to, somewhat live their life with this implantable device, whether it's implanted in your forehead, right, or in your hand. Thus saith the Bible, right? People are going to be able to live their life somewhat. They're going to be able to find comfort and pay their bills, take care of their kids, continue to be a slave, right? Well, guess what? The Lord said don't take it. So you're either going to trust in the Lord and not partake in the follies of America when it comes to that, all right? And stop just participating in the follies of America in general, okay? But people are going to cleave to that, man, because it's going to be the new idol. It's going to be the new way to live. It's going to be the new thing. It's going to be the hip thing to do. And it's going to be first pushed by celebrities. It's going to be pushed by, doctors, celebrities, people that are idolizing this society. Then it's going to be pushed by influencers, things of that nature, man, okay? All right? It says here, but for those that don't take it, you're going to be threatened with death, okay? But then go read 2 Ezra 16 and 67 on down, man. All right, or 67 on down. Maybe start at 60 on down. Okay. It says here, verse 10, for there were two women brought who had circumcised their children, whom they had openly led round about the city, the babes hanging at their breasts. They cast them headlong from the wall. Because they circumcised their children got hung. Same thing that be happening to Jake now, man. All right? It says here, and the others that had run it together into the caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly being discovered to Philip were all burnt together because they made a concession to help themselves, and they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. All right, now I just told you, hey, this is what happened. That's persecution for doing what the Lord required you to do. Shit. All right, that's what happens. When you do what the Lord requires of you and it's contrary to the world, you're going to get persecuted. This is part of going through the straight gate, okay? Verse 12, it says, now I beseech those that read this book that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for chastising of our nation. So the things that, you go through, the things that the nation of Israel went through, it's for the chastisement, okay? And what does chastisement mean? A correction, all right? Let me look it up. Let me be 100% sure. All right, pain and suffering inflicted for punishment and correction. Okay, so guess what? We're going to receive what the Lord has set for us in regards to our correction. Okay, it says here, for it is a token of His great goodness when wicked doers are not suffered any long time, but forthwith punished. For not as with other nations whom the Lord patiently forbeareth to punish till they become to the fullness of their sins, so He dealeth with us. So the Lord don't deal with us as He deals with these other nations, man. That's also in the book of Nahum. Okay. All right, Salakia. Verse 15. Lest that being come to the height of sin, afterwards He should take vengeance of us. And therefore He never withdraws His mercy from us. And though He punishes us with adversity, yet doeth He not forsake His people. All right, you got to remember that. All right, you got to remember that. It's important for you to remember. But let this that we have spoken be for a warning unto us. And now will we come to the declaring of the matter in few words. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with an abomination, spit it forth and came to his own accord to the torment. All right? We're going to have to go through that, man. All right? We're going to have to stand up for what's right. And what's right is to stand up for the Yahweh Shemel Shai. It's going to be hard, okay? All right, it's not going to be easy, all right? It says here, and it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. But they that had the charge of that wicked feast, for an old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as is lawful for him to use, and make as if he did eat the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king, that in doing so he might be delivered from death, and for old friendship with them find favor. But he began to consider this discreetly, and as become his age and excellency of his ancient years and the honor of his gray head, wherewith was come, and his most honest education from a child, or whether the holy law made and given by power. Therefore he answered accordingly and willed them straightway to send him to the grave. That's how you gotta be. That's how you gotta be in a time of persecution, in a time of going through the straight gate, in a time where the Lord is going to strengthen you. Okay? This is the mindset that the Lord's gonna put upon you. This is the mindset that the Lord's gonna give you. Okay? All right? It says here, for verse 24, for it becometh not our age, and said he, in any wise to dissemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being fourscore years old and 10, were now gone to a strange religion. And so they through mine hypocrisy and desire to live a little time and a moment longer, should be deceived by me, and I get a stain to mine old age and make it abominable. So he'd rather go out as an honorable man than as somebody that's not lived, that has not been an honorable individual. Okay? It says here, for though the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet I should not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead. Wherefore now manfully changing this life, I will show myself such as one as mine age requireth, okay? And leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment. They that led him, changing their goodwill, they bear him a little before into hatred, because the aforesaid speeches proceeded as they thought for a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, that the holy knowledge, that have holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in my body, being beaten, but in soul I am well content to suffer these things, because I fear him. So all because of the fear of the Lord, all because of the fear of Yahweh Shema Shai, all because of that reverence for the Lord, and not reverence to live a little bit longer, okay? To seek to please men, we gotta please the Lord, all right? It says here, and thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of notable courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation. And that's how you deal with persecution. All right, that's what's going to come upon us. All right, deal with it in the sense that Eleazar dealt with it. Deal with it in the sense that the 7 brothers and their mother dealt with it. Deal with it in the sense that when it comes upon you, you'll be delivered, man. Whether your deliverance is going to come from the Lord not allowing you to suffer death, or you being dying, or you dying, man. That's what's going to happen. All right, got somebody coming up to ask questions. Oh, good. How you doing, sir? How you doing? That's good. Give alms, Good. Give alms. Yep, you do the same, sir. I thought he was coming to ask questions, but nonetheless, right? Give alms. That man gave this man some alms. May the Lord bless that man, It's a little bit after 8. It's a little bit after 8. Yeah, it's 8:09. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm about to close out too. So yeah, we got. No, I missed yesterday because I was moving, so I didn't come yesterday. So I came out tonight. Yeah, it took me all day yesterday to move. Yeah, but the Lord allowed me to come out here today. But I'll be back on my Friday and start next week. Yeah, yes, sir. It's 8:09, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have a good evening. All right, so with that, persecution is going to come. All right, but just remember that the Lord's going to deliver us, man. All right, but with all that, with all that said, I'm gonna give all praises and honor glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Takwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone who want to teach well. Hearty shalom to elect Kwam Yashawalam, and Rafa Yahweh, Yahweh, Shai, Shalom.